Have you ever been on a long road trip and stopped somewhere that felt wrong the second your tires touched the pavement? Not the "I don't like this gas station" kind of wrong. Just a quiet, prickling feeling in the back of your mind that tells you something isn't right. I didn't pay attention to that feeling, but I should have. My name is Tim, and my wife Amy and I were on a road trip. A simple escape for some rest and relaxation. We didn't know that what we thought would be an ordinary night would soon become something we'll never forget. This is the story of that night. This is The Gas Stop Stranger. Amy and I had been planning this getaway for months. We wanted a break. The open road, new scenery, long stretches of quiet highway, time to breathe, to laugh, to escape. The first day was perfect. Rolling hills, dense forests, lakes hidden off side roads. We sang along to playlists, snacked on granola bars, talked about nothing at all. By the second night, we were driving a stretch of highway that felt ordinary. 2 lanes, occasional passing cars, nothing particularly isolated. We were tired, but happy. That kind of contentment that comes from a day spent exploring. The fuel light blinked, and I nudged Amy's arm. "Running low," I said. She checked her phone. "There's a gas station just off this exit, looks open." We turned off the highway and onto the long, empty stretch of asphalt leading to it. The second our tires rolled over the cracked pavement, something didn't feel right. The station sat under harsh fluorescence. The convenience store glowed with a sterile, lonely light. Nothing overtly threatening, but nothing comforting either. I pulled up to a pump. The air smelled sharply of gasoline and asphalt. The buzzing of the overhead lights was deafening against the stillness around us. Every instinct in my body told me to keep moving. Amy went to the bathroom. That's when I saw a figure crossing the lot. A man. Mid-40s, maybe. Clothes stained with dirt like he'd been sleeping on the ground. I thought he was a hitchhiker, but no bag, no backpack, not even a jacket. He walked with a purpose, straight toward me. He stopped a few feet from me, close enough that the hair on my neck stood up. "Where are you headed?" he asked, like it was the most casual question in the world. I forced a polite smile, even though something in his eyes felt unhinged. "Just traveling," I said. He didn't take that as an answer. "No," he said, stepping closer. "Where exactly?" The way he said it didn't sound curious. It was like he needed an answer no matter what. My pulse thumped in my ears. "Look, man, Before I could finish, he dipped his head slightly, staring at me from beneath his brow. His lips moved, muttering something low and jagged. The tone was wrong. Dark, like he was speaking to someone standing behind me. But there was no one there. "What?" I asked, trying to stay firm. He didn't repeat it. So I stepped back and said it plainly. "Dude, fuck off. Leave us alone." That got through to him. His expression changed. Not angry, not shocked, just blank, a flat stare that felt like he was memorizing something. The way his eyes traveled from me to our car, down the sides, lingering on the trunk. Then he muttered another string of words, almost rhythmic, like he was talking himself into something. Finally, he walked away. Slowly. Not back toward the store, but around the side of the building. My hands were shaking when I pulled the nozzle out of the tank. Amy came out of the bathroom just as I was closing the fuel cap. "You okay?" she asked, seeing the tension in my shoulders. "Yeah, just some creep," I said. "Asked where we were going, real pushy." She made a face. "Let's just grab snacks and go." "Go ahead," I said. "I'm gonna hit the bathroom." As she headed inside, I looked around the lot. The man was nowhere. Not in the store, not crossing the road, not walking down the highway. It was like he'd vanished. Inside the bathroom, the fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. My reflection looked rattled. Eyes tight, jaw clenched. I kept replaying his stare, the muttered words, the way he'd looked at our car. I shook the thought away. It was just nerves. Just a weird encounter late at night. When I came out, the chill in the air made my skin tighten. I scanned the lot again, half expecting him to be standing somewhere nearby. Nothing. Amy was already in the car with a bag of snacks. I got in, started the engine, and pulled out of the station, the bright fluorescent glow fading quickly behind us. At first, it felt like any other stretch of night driving. Highway lines sliding under the headlights, Amy unwrapping a candy bar, the low hum of the engine. But something about the air in the car felt heavier, like I could hear the car breathing. Maybe it was the man's stare lingering in my mind. Maybe it was the way he kept asking where we were going, or the way he muttered to himself after I told him off. Whatever it was, the unease stuck with me. And Amy noticed. "You're quiet," she said. "Just thinking about that guy," I admitted. She shrugged. "Probably just someone looking for money." "Yeah, maybe." I didn't fully believe it. He didn't ask for money. He didn't ask for help. He wanted one thing, to know where we were going. And he watched our car like he was planning something, but we had no real reason to worry. To us, it was just a creepy encounter. So we kept driving, the miles slipping quietly beneath the tires. About 15 minutes down the highway, we hit a rough patch of road. The car jolted gently. Our luggage shifted in the trunk with a muffled thump. Nothing unusual. But then there was another sound, a softer one, a shuffle. Amy paused mid-bite. "What was that?" "Just the bags," I said automatically. "They're probably sliding around." But the sound wasn't like something sliding. It was like something touching the inside of the trunk. A dull tap. "Did you pack the cooler?" Amy asked. "Maybe the ice packs are shifting." "Yeah, probably that," but neither of us sounded confident. I turned the music on, just low enough to break the silence. It wasn't worth fixating on, at least that's what we told ourselves. But an hour into the drive, just when Amy was starting to relax again, another sound came from the back. This one louder, a thud with a slight echo, like something bumping upward. Amy sat forward in her seat. "That wasn't the bags." "I know," I murmured. We both listened. Then, a faint scrape, like something dragging across the trunk's interior lining. Amy's breathing quickened. "Tim, what if something's wrong with the suspension? Or the spare tire?" "That's probably it," I said quickly. But the sound didn't quite match that either. Still, it was easier to latch onto a logical explanation than admit the uneasy truth. I didn't know what was making the noise, and I didn't want to stop on a dark highway to find out. For a while, the road stayed empty. Then headlights appeared behind us. A car, far back at first, then creeping closer. Amy tensed. "Is that a cop?" "Maybe," I said. The headlights held position for another mile. Then, blue and red lights flashed. Amy gasped. "What? Why? You weren't speeding!" I pulled over onto the shoulder, heart pounding. All of a sudden, it felt like everything had been building toward this moment. The officer approached cautiously, hand resting near his holster. He didn't greet us normally. No license and registration. No, do you know why I pulled you over? Instead, he asked, "Sir, ma'am, is anyone else in the car with you tonight?" The question punched the breath out of me. Amy shook her head instantly. "No, just us." "Why?" I asked. The officer's jaw tightened. "We received a call from someone at the gas station you stopped at. They said you were approached by a man matching the description of a wanted fugitive." My mouth went dry. Amy's hand clutched my arm. "A fugitive?" she whispered. The officer nodded slowly. "He's extremely dangerous." Ice slid down my spine. "We talked to him," I said, "but he left. He walked away." The officer gave us a long, careful look. Amy and I exchanged a glance. "We've been hearing something in our trunk," I said quietly. The officer held my gaze for a beat too long, then said, "Sir, I'm going to need you to pop your trunk." I pressed the trunk button. He stepped toward the back of our vehicle, posture tightening with each step. His right hand hovered near his holster, and then he threw the trunk open. The officer jerked backward and drew his gun,
Freeze!
pointing it directly into our trunk. Amy gasped. "Oh my God, he's in our car! He's in our car!" The officer didn't look away, didn't lower his gun. "Both of you stay where you are," he yelled, shock snapping through his voice. "Do not get out!" I froze. Every detail snapped into horrifying clarity. The shifting noises, the scrapes, the faint tapping we kept brushing off as something loose. The officer called into his radio with a hard, urgent tone. "Suspect located. He's in the trunk. Armed status unknown. Request immediate backup." Amy clutched my arm so tight it hurt. The officer's flashlight stayed pinned on the man. A moment stretched, heavy and silent. Backup arrived fast. Sirens, doors slamming, officers moving with purpose. Within minutes, the man from our trunk was cuffed and secured in the back of a squad car. Only then did the first officer return to us. "All right," he said. "Here's what you need to know." Amy held my arm, bracing herself. "That man's name is Lyle Dreer, escaped from a psychiatric facility 2 nights ago. He attacked 2 people before fleeing. He's been on foot, looking for a way out of the area. He must have slid into your trunk at some point. He probably was going to wait for you to stop somewhere secluded, most likely when you opened the trunk again. He had a knife on him. If I hadn't gotten that tip from a witness at the station..." He shook his head. "You two might not be standing here." The world seemed to tilt beneath me. "You two are safe now," he said. "We'll take your statements, and then you can get out of here, but take a moment. Breathe. What you went through is no small thing." And that was it. Explanation given. Horror fully realized. Have you ever felt that subtle unease? Something in the back of your mind telling you this isn't right? We did, and we ignored it. That's how close we came. How close you could come, too. Because sometimes it's not the dark woods or the deserted house you need to fear. It's the ordinary places you trust. The highway gas station, the trunk, the quiet hum of your own car at night. Pay attention to those little instincts, because you never know who or what might be riding along with you